What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Not sure if it was just myself, maybe it was you, but I could not sleep last night. This price action was so damn exciting. Bitcoin got all the way up to $9,482. We have had a little bit of a cool-off period since then, but you could see that Bitcoin is still almost at around 65%. The altcoins in the mild red today. So is that it? Is Bitcoin looking to go the other way? Was that the cool-off period? Well, lo and behold, guys, they said it couldn't be done. We've been talking about the CME futures gap at $9,060 now for weeks, and we finally closed it. So this was a great indicator of where the price could potentially head. But now the question is, are we looking for a reversal? So yesterday we were talking about hitting this critical level. We hit it exactly, and now we're having the pullback. So I want to talk about a few things today. Number one being something that if Bitcoin does very soon, wouldn't really be the best for altcoins, and you'd probably want to be hedged into Bitcoin, as Bitcoin would probably outpace the altcoins short term. I do want to also talk about the fact that we have the halving coming up in less than 12 days, and this particular move that we saw on Bitcoin was very different for previous halvings as well as pumps that we have seen in the past. I want to go into why this was different, why Bitcoin pumped overall, and I also want to show you that there was in fact new money that came into Bitcoin. So we're going to get into all that today. Yes, we're going to talk about short-term price action, long-term price action, all of that. And if that sounds good to you, you're definitely going to want to stick around to the end. Do consider getting subscribed if you haven't. And without further ado, let's dive directly into the chart. So having a look right now, you'll notice that we were having this basically, we were getting to the end of this. We knew that Bitcoin was looking for a big move. We had this support right here, this support right here, and this major resistance. And finally, we absolutely skyrocketed right through it. And you knew that it was going to be a crazy day when everybody was getting these Coinbase errors, right, over trying to buy money. You know, whenever Coinbase has an error, that means Bitcoin's usually going absolutely bonkers. Now, like I did say earlier, we did close the CME futures gap. So that's done. We can forget about that. The question is, now that we closed it, is Bitcoin looking for a bit of a pullback? Well, look, I'm not going to lie. I would expect there to be some kind of a cool-off period, okay? Bitcoin's not just going to go straight to the moon. That's not how it happens. But we were literally talking about this level yesterday, how we were being held down by resistance here. We were held down right here again in February. And look at how we literally touched the purple line exactly at that $9,600 level that I spoke about in yesterday's video. That would have been a great opportunity if you were looking to put in a short term, maybe short, okay? Not telling you to short Bitcoin. Obviously, nothing on this channel is financial advice. But one thing I do want to mention, here's actually, if we zoom in, you can see where we also got held down right here. But the one thing I want to note is that we are well above the 21 exponential on the weekly. I've talked about the significance of this level for quite some time. That level currently sitting at around $7,700. You can see the last time that we got above it back here, we absolutely skyrocketed. And yeah, once we finally fell below it, we absolutely dumped. So very critical level. We are well above that. We're also well above the 200 daily moving average. This has been a very crucial level for Bitcoin, right? A lot of people consider this whether or not we're in a bull market or a bear market. So this does look good. Okay, as long as we can stay above that level, which is currently sitting around almost $8,000. Yeah, Bitcoin could have a cool off all the way to, back to 8,000. still be bullish, and we would still technically be putting in a higher high, right? As long as we maintain this trend right here, that would be good for Bitcoin. Also want to point out this extremely insane level, okay? This was the legacy trend line that we put in all the way back here when we had the major dump back in December of 2018, and that's the green line right there. And you could see how that acted basically as support during the entire accumulation phase before the massive blast off. Then when we had the initial dump after the crazy China pump, it acted right here. You could see as our support, okay? Then Bitcoin skyrocketed all the way back to the $10,500 level. And if we actually zoom in right now, you could see that that was where we had some very weak support before the massive dump. And currently, Bitcoin sort of, if you look right here, wicked down to it, and we are maintaining above the legacy trend line. So guys, if we can maintain above this trend, then yeah, basically all of this right here gets invalidated. It was just one giant bull trap. Congratulations to everybody that scooped up the dip. And yeah, things are looking really good for Bitcoin. Obviously, we do have a lot of resistance overhead. Having a look right here, though, I just want to point something out. For people saying that, oh, Bitcoin is a scam and it's totally correlated with the stocks. Well, guys, if we just go to the beginning of the year, yes, it's been a very crazy year for Bitcoin, but just having a look right here, from the beginning of the year to now, Bitcoin is up about almost 24%, okay? If we actually come over here and have a look at what gold has done, as impressive as this chart may look, gold is actually only up 16.5%. So Bitcoin is actually outpacing gold, and it is also outpacing the S&P. I don't have to show you this. You can clearly see we are down. In fact, having a look over here, Dan Moorhead over at Pantera Capital, he actually points out that Bitcoin is the best performing asset, outperforming gold. Obviously, real estate down 23%, oil down 75%, commodities down 42%, and corporate bonds down 10%. So the question is, Bitcoin is correlated to the stonks, or are the stonks correlated to Bitcoin? Well, as I showed you guys earlier, Bitcoin was actually putting in its moves before the stocks were, right? So you were actually seeing Bitcoin have its moves before the stocks, even with the dump. So you could argue that maybe the stocks are just doing what Bitcoin is doing, right? You could argue that, maybe, possibly. However, I just want to point out that we are back in this sort of median range. This is the monthly chart. You could see Bitcoin really just fluctuates sort of between the $6,400 level and the $10,700 level, with the exception of, a few crazy moments above it, a few crazy moments below it. But for the most part, we hang out right around this region. And currently, we are sitting higher than the median of that region. Now, we do want to get above the sort of $9,200 level. And the reason is because that was a very crucial close right here, okay, back in April of 2018. You could see right here in October of 2019, also right here in the beginning of 2020. And currently we did wick above it, but we did get stomped out. So we want to get above the $9,200 level. And if we can have the monthly close higher than $10,764, which was the close that we had back here at the pump back in June of 2019, right? Because we're not going to count the wick. We only care about when we closed. Man, talk about fireworks for Bitcoin. And also, here's something I want to talk about with Bitcoin related to the altcoins. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, obviously, when Bitcoin dominance goes up, altcoin dominance goes down, which means you probably want to be in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is most likely going to, outpace the altcoins as far as gains. And we saw that, basically during the massive run up all the way, from June 2019 all the way up to basically September. However, we did fall out of this pattern that we were putting in, and currently we're sitting right down here again at the support turn resistance. Now, if Bitcoin dominance breaks out of this and gets up to about 68%, and we see Bitcoin dominance start pushing at around 69%, 70% dominance, you're going to want to be in Bitcoin. Not financial advice, but Bitcoin is most likely going to lead the way, and it's probably going to outpace the majority of the altcoins. Not all of them. There's always going to be a handful of altcoins that literally go to the moon, but just keep your eyes on this chart. And right now, guys, we are pushing right on that kind of 66.5% level, okay? Now, let's talk about why Bitcoin had the pump. Well, you could see Whale Alert pointed out that there was $100 million of Tether minted at the Tether treasury, but it doesn't look like this was actually For standby, this was for immediate usage. You could see you had 50 million of it transferred from an unknown wallet over to Binance. So this was showing that, they were printing it. There was the demand for it. Now, I know there's the conspiracy about Tether just, basically pumping Tether out and pumping the price, whatever. We've talked about that on the channel, but the fact that you're seeing it transfer to spot exchanges shows that there was demand, and this shows that people were actually buying Bitcoin on the spot markets, and this is one very big difference from a lot of the other moves. In fact, the major dump that we saw when Bitcoin fell down to 3,800, that was from over-leveraged trading platforms like BitMEX, for example. You can see over here, CZ points out over at Binance that Binance was doing over $15 billion worth of volume, almost 16 billion. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, was all of that real? I was very skeptical myself. So if you actually come over here to on-chain FX, which is over at Masari, and you look at the screener, well, if we zoom in right here, you can actually see that this is about 1/3 of the volume that Binance had alone. But over here, you could see the real total volume for the top 10 exchanges for Bitcoin was 4.5 billion. And you could see down here, it was 3.7 billion for Tether and almost 1 billion for Ethereum. This to me is showing that there was massive demand for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies on spot markets, okay? This is most likely retail driven, could be institutionally driven as well, but this wasn't futures exchanges, it wasn't leverage exchanges, manipulating the price all over the place. This was actual spot exchange volume by real buyers. Now, I just wanted to point out over here, you could see even, Sing Saro over here, he points out that BitMEX open interest actually hit an all-time low. This Bitcoin rally was purely a spot dominated ripper. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, guys. And coming over here, you'll see that, some people are saying, no, it's not. For example, Tyler Durden over here says the weekly Bitcoin chart is the definition of illiquid altcoin. Hilarious cycle it's been through. My hope is that the halving will financially destroy as many Chinese miners as possible, and we can actually have a legitimate bull market instead of this pump and dump move. Well, I would disagree. I would say that was actually a decent amount of volume. It's more volume than we've seen in quite some time. And you can actually see Joe007. He's the one that retweeted this. Now, keep in mind, Joe007 is currently down. This guy clearly has a lot of money, guys. He is down $15.5 million over on his position at Bitfinex. I can only assume he was shorting, okay, because Bitcoin had a massive pump. Why else would you be in the negative? So, you can understand why he's a little bit salty towards the pump, but I do have to give him credit. He did respond to Marco over here, and Marco said, Joe, do you think that that new money is coming in? It's hard to imagine, honestly. And he said there was definitely new fiat inflow lately, as evidenced by the USDT market cap. Now, obviously, he might be being a little bit sarcastic, the magic money printer of Tether, but look, the magic money printer of the real world is happening as well, guys. I mean, literally, they're printing money every single day. People are getting stimulus checks and every other thing. What do you think they're doing with their money? We saw that people were throwing it into Bitcoin. In fact, we have right here proof that the quarterly reports at Grayscale said that the assets under management have now hit 3 billion, and 88% of the inflows this quarter came from institutional investors. The overwhelming majority of it was hedge funds. And look at this graph right here. This graph doesn't look like people are just ultimately rushing in to just buy it and then dump it. This is nice, gradual, slow accumulation. This is more people showing interest over time. You can see right here, they basically say that the gradual inflow of the capital into Grayscale since the beginning of this year shows that people have been consistently investing in Bitcoin, a significant increase in organic retail demand resulting in surging spot volume, okay? So this is people coming in. This is new money. You saw Coinbase. I've even had a few Coinbase signups, which is like people that have to be brand new to crypto, first-time buyers ever, right? And you can see right here that it basically shows that we had a lot of spot volume. We broke the key resistances, right? We had the 200 daily moving average, the 21 exponential moving average, and also you have the accumulation of institutions, which created essentially a perfect storm for Bitcoin. You know what else is creating a perfect storm for Bitcoin? The fact that we're having endless money printing. Literally every time I turn around, there's just more money being printed. You can see right here, this is actually from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, and he explained yesterday why the Bank of the US is currently doing what they're doing, the Central Bank of the US, and basically what their plans are to fight the economic impact of the pandemic. And I just want to quote something really quick that happened. This was about 20 minutes after the start of the session, and you had Victoria Gita, she's a financial services reporter for Politico, and she asked Powell about the Fed's lending plans and whether Republicans should be concerned, or whether I would say everyone should be concerned, about the huge amount of fiscal spending being done. This is what he had to say. This is a direct quote. He said, "This is different from the Paycheck Protection Program in two different ways. One, these are not grants, these are loans. And second thing, look right here, we won't run out of money. You know, it's not a limited pot," okay? He went on to say, in terms of fiscal concerns, "I have long time been an advocate for the need for United States to return to the sustainable path from a fiscal perspective at the Federal Reserve." And to quote again, he says, "We have not been on such a path for some time, which means that the debt is growing faster than the economy." He admits it himself, okay? And finally, to end it, he says, "The time will come again, and reasonably soon, I think, where we can think about a long-term way to get our fiscal house in order, and we absolutely need to do that, but this is not the time for that concern." Which is a very serious concern, but we do not want to let it get in the way of us winning this battle. So what do you guys make of that? I actually posted on Twitter a little retweet of President Camacho. You remember him from Idiocracy? And it's like, is this like literally just becoming a reality right now? It's like living in the Twilight Zone, guys. So basically that is the situation. And yeah, I actually saw this floating around on the internet, and there's no date on this, but just kind of really lets you know the severity of the inflation and how bad it is. This is some old flyer for Kentucky Fried Chicken. And you can see right down here, they have a bumper box, which is a 21 piece of tender, tasty chicken, perfect for parties, picnics, and all social groups and functions for under $5. A family pack with 15 pieces of chicken, gravy, and 5 rolls serves 5 to 7 people for $3.95. So if that doesn't make you hungry and maybe also let you know how bad things are right now, yeah, that is just another reason to, buy Bitcoin. And yeah, I mean, having a look, we are having a little bit of a cool off right now. Bitcoin just chilling, having a look at some of the altcoins. We are having Bitcoin back in the deep green. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Are you buying Bitcoin right now? Are you hodling? Are you shorting? Are you longing? Are you still sitting on the sidelines in cash? Let me know what you're doing, but I don't know how you could possibly have a look at this chart right here and not be bullish. I just don't understand it. But yeah, short term, we could have a little bit of a pullback. That was a crazy pump we had. Bitcoin may need to have a cool off or not. Halving's coming up. We could do something totally crazy we've never done before. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Thank you so much again. If you guys enjoyed this video, obviously, drop me a comment, leave a like. I do have a free Telegram group too if you guys want to join. I have the links below. You just hang out, talk crypto. It's totally free. If you're up for that, you can do it. That being said, thank you so much for coming back. You guys rock. I do love you. You're the reason that I do this, for the most part, every single day. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.